This video demonstrates how to onboard SAS Data Maker on Microsoft Azure. Before you begin, review the requirements for deploying SAS Data Maker. Ensure that you have an Azure user account with subscription owner or contributor permissions to make a purchase. Ensure that the required Azure resource providers are registered in the Azure subscription that will be used for the data plane deployment. For example, here I can see the required Microsoft Compute resource provider. If it wasn't registered, I could click the checkbox to the left and then click Register. Ensure use of an OIDC compliant identity provider and ensure that you have the appropriate Azure quota for the CPUs that you want to provision. At the bottom of this documentation, you will find hardware sizing guidelines and recommendations. Now, let's review the onboarding process. Onboarding SAS Data Maker is a 6-step process. First, you purchase a SAS subscription for the control plane and review the confirmation email from SAS. Then, you deploy the data plane from SAS Data Maker as an Azure managed application and review the deployment email from SAS. Finally, you set up your SSO provider, add additional roles, and share SAS Data Maker with your users. Step 1. Log on to Microsoft Marketplace and search for SAS Data Maker. We'll use SAS Data Maker deployment in the next step. For now, click SAS Data Maker Purchase. From the subscription drop-down list, select the subscription where you want to deploy SAS Data Maker. From the plan drop-down list, select SAS Data Maker Purchase and then click Subscribe. In the Subscribe to SAS Data Maker page, complete these steps. Select or create a resource group. A resource group is a container that holds related resources for an Azure solution. Choose a location for your resource group. Next, provide a unique name for your purchase. If you would like to add tags, click the Next button. Then click Review and Subscribe. Review the terms of use and contact information, and then click Subscribe. A message appears that your SAS subscription is in progress. Your purchase will be complete once you set up your account on the publisher's website. After about 15 seconds, the page will update. Click the blue button that says Configure Account Now. Enter the required information. When you're choosing the Azure region for the deployment of the data plane, remember that you must select the same region for the SAS subscription and your SAS Data Maker deployment. If you select two different regions, your deployment fails. Enter the primary contact's name and email and the administrator's name and email. When you're finished, click Submit. The deployment automation run can take several minutes to complete. After the SAS deployment automation completes, the subscription page will include the additional customer keys that are required for deploying the SAS Data Maker data plane. You cannot proceed with the data plane deployment without these keys. You should have received an email saying thank you for purchasing SAS Data Maker when you first subscribed. After about 8 minutes, you'll receive a second email saying you can now deploy SAS Data Maker. Step 3. Deploy the data plane for SAS Data Maker as an Azure managed application. Refresh the subscription page and you'll now see the customer keys. Back in the Microsoft Marketplace, select SAS Data Maker Deployment. On the SAS Data Maker Deployment page, select your plan and click Create. On the Basics tab of the Create SAS Data Maker Deployment page, enter the name of the resource group for the deployment. You do not have to specify the same resource group that you used for the subscription. However, you must select the same region that you used when creating the subscription. If you do not, the deployment fails. Enter a unique application name. Click Next. On the Configuration tab, enter your linking code. You can find this value on the subscription page. Note that this is a one-time code. After you use it to create the deployment, this value disappears from the subscription page. For most deployments, it's recommended to use the default AKS VM size. If you reviewed the Before You Begin documentation and hardware sizing recommendations and determined that you need a different instance, here is where you select your desired size for the AKS Synth VM. Remember to make sure that you have the quota for the VM sizes that you select. Then choose the maximum count. Optionally, enable and provide authorized IP ranges to restrict inbound access to the data plane. Confirm that you reviewed the resource quotas, resource providers, and SAS Data Maker documentation. Click Next. On the Review and Create tab, accept the terms and conditions and click Create. After about 30 seconds, you'll see the resource in the created state. After another few minutes, you'll see the status change from created to OK. A message appears that the deployment is complete. Click Go to Resource. This will open the resource group where the application was created. Click the application. This will open the managed application. Find the managed resource group name in the top right corner and click it. This will open the managed resource group. The infrastructure resources will be created within this group via automation from the control plane. Click the API call object to make sure it succeeded. This means that the API call succeeded. Automation in the control plane will deploy the managed infrastructure into the managed resource group. This can take some time. After about 45 minutes, you should receive a third email. Congrats, your deployment of SAS Data Maker is complete. Step 5. Set up your SSO provider. Navigate to the subscription management page and use the tenant admin one-time login link to create an admin password for your deployment. Make note of this password because you will use it in the future to manage user roles in SSO. We will also use it in step 6 of the deployment process. Under the Authentication tab, click New SSO Connection. Configure SSO with your identity provider. Any OpenID Connect compliant provider is supported. In SAS communities, you can find configuration steps for Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure Active Directory, and Okta. Once you complete the configuration details, click OK. Then create a new domain. Then sign out and sign back in using SSO. For my example, once the domain is detected, I'm redirected to Microsoft Login. After receiving admin approval, I'm able to log in. You'll see a banner here that says you need additional permissions. This is step 6 in the onboarding process. Add additional roles. Log out of your account and log back in with the Tenant Admin ID account. You can find the Tenant Admin ID on the subscription page. The user's password is the one you created using the Tenant Admin one-time login link a minute ago. Copy the connection URL and open it in a new tab. Copy the Tenant Admin ID and use it along with the password to log in. Go to the Users tab. You should now see your user. Click the Edit button next to your user. First, add the Data Maker user role. This is the minimum required role for a user to create a project in SAS Data Maker. Optionally, assign other roles to the users that need them. For example, Data Maker Source Data Contributor, which enables the upload of the data to the storage account. Data Maker Synthetic Data Downloader, which enables the download of data from the SAS Data Maker user interface. And Data Maker Admin, which enables an administrator to manage SAS Data Maker. You can find more information about these roles in the documentation. Click OK. Sign out and sign back in with your user account. Log in using the data plane link URL. Now my user has the permissions required and I don't see the yellow warning banner. To generate synthetic data, SAS Data Maker must read from a Microsoft Azure Blob storage container, and similarly write synthetic data to a Blob storage container. In order for SAS Data Maker to read and write data, appropriate role assignments must be created. Let's walk through these steps. First, we will create a new Azure storage account through the Microsoft Marketplace. Make sure your storage account is in the same subscription as the SAS Data Maker application. Choose a resource group or create a new one. This can be the resource group in which the SAS Data Maker managed app resides, but it cannot be the resource group that is managed by SAS or Microsoft Azure. Enter a storage account name, and ensure that Azure Blob Storage is selected as the primary data service. Make any necessary changes to the default settings, then click Review and Create. Click Create. Click Go to Resource. Click Settings, Resource Sharing Cores. You must add the SAS Data Maker data plane to the list of allowed cores origins to support download of data directly through the SAS Data Maker user interface. Copy the data plane URL from the subscription page. Ensure that you include the scheme, but no path components, and ensure that the get, head, and options methods are selected and all headers are allowed and exposed. Set an age limit in accordance with your internal standards. Click Save. Find the Data Storage menu and select Containers. In this example, I will create two containers, one for input data and one for output data. This is to maintain separation between my potentially sensitive input data and the synthetically generated data. In the documentation, you'll find a list of role assignments that must be made. Note, adding role assignments requires owner permissions. You might need to contact your IT administrator to complete these steps. Now, let's walk through how to add the first role assignment. Click the Input container and select Access Control IAM. Click Add Role Assignment. Select Storage Blob Data Reader. Click the Members tab and select Managed Identity. Select Members and search for Data Maker app. Click it and then click Select. Click the Conditions tab. Copy the specified condition from the documentation. Click Add Condition, Code, and paste the code from the documentation. Click Save. Click Review and Assign, and then click Review and Assign again. Now that you know how to create the roles, repeat these steps for the remaining required roles. This includes adding the Storage Blob Delegator role to both the input and output containers. Scroll down to see one optional role assignment. Back in SAS Data Maker, from the left menu, click the Connections icon. Click Add Connection, and the Connection Details window appears. Currently, SAS Data Maker offers connections to Microsoft Azure Blob Storage, and that option is pre-populated. Provide the storage account name of the account you created earlier, then provide the container name. First, I'll add the input container. Select the usage option for this connection. The options include input, output, and upload. For this container, I'll choose the input-only option. Click Save. Now repeat these steps for the output container. If you've reached this point, that means you've successfully deployed. Congrats! Share the data plane URL with the end users so they can start using SAS Data Maker. This video demonstrated how to onboard SAS Data Maker in Microsoft Azure. You can find more helpful videos in the SAS Data Maker communities. If you already purchased SAS Data Maker, now you're ready to generate data. If not, then what are you waiting for? Get started today.